This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on bilateral relationship between India and United Arab Emirates. The participants are Sheel Kant Sharma, former diplomat, and Pratim Bhuiyan, journalist.
Ambassador Sharma, one of the key foreign policy priorities of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government since 2014 has been to expand overall engagement with the Gulf region, which is home to over 8 million Indians. That is one of the largest concentration of migrants anywhere in the world. We have seen rapid upswing in India's cooperation with Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, Iran, and of course with the United Arab Emirates in the last few years. The relations with the United Arab Emirates have moved forward in an unprecedented pace since Prime Minister Modi's first visit to the Gulf nation in August 2015. The visit actually marked the beginning of a new comprehensive and strategic partnership between the two countries in 2015. And Prime Minister's two-day visit to the UAE from yesterday is his seventh visit to the country. How do you see the overall trajectory of India-UAE relations in the backdrop of various geopolitical upheavals?
It has been quite clear by PM statements that the relationship is anchored on solid grounds and the sky is the limit for its growth and expansion. The solid ground is actually $85 billion of bilateral trade between the two countries, and UAE being the third largest investor in India. And the expansion is characterized by a virtuous helical cycle where every turn makes you go up. So Prime Minister's seventh visit from 2015 to now, and the third visit in the past 1 year. He, 2 years back, signed the CEPA, the Comprehensive Economic Agreement. And today we have now the investment agreement, investment guarantees. Now, these are the warp and woof of a solid bilateral relationship which has economy in its center. But it's not limited to economy in the traditional sense, because there is, as PM says, a relationship is made of talent, innovation, and culture. Now, this is a sweeping kind of framework in which you develop your talent bilaterally, like he went and spoke to the IIT Delhi's Dubai campus. Then innovation. Today's world is looking for frontiers of technology to harness what is imperative for us in, say, to meet climate change, for instance, for energy transition, and for this new industrial revolution caused by the AI, artificial intelligence, and the virtual reality, the whole process which encompasses technology and biotechnology. So India is going to work with UAE hand in hand in moving towards these vistas. And Prime Minister's visit this time has laid out the path. They have further strengthened this whole process. So I think this relationship is bound to grow, and it transcends the transactional part. It has a strategic confluence. It has a confluence of leadership in the sense that when Prime Minister Modi says yesterday after his welcome at the airport that he feels like coming home, as though when he comes there, he feels as though he's back in his family, back his home. Now, this is the kind of heart-to-heart connect which has been established by his own personalized diplomacy with the president of UAE and the top level of the leaderships. So Arabs, for instance, the Gulf Arabs, they are very emotional people. When they meet people, they like to speak with warmth. In their culture, there is a confluence with Indian culture, because India also is like that. Indians speak with heart. And our diplomacy over the last 10 years has been characterized by Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, or Sabka Vishwas. That means to get everyone together, to instill faith and confidence and trust in everyone, and Sabka Prayas, and to get everyone's efforts together. Now, this kind of assimilative and non-zero-sum process is now well appreciated by the countries, by India's interlocutors. And the fact that UAE has responded wholeheartedly to India's overtures is the hallmark of success of this diplomacy.
Ambassador Sharma, following wide-ranging talks between Prime Minister Modi and UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan yesterday, the two countries signed 8 agreements, very crucial agreements, to bolster cooperation in diverse areas, including investments, electricity trade, digital infrastructure, payment platforms, among others. The pacts included a bilateral investment treaty, as you mentioned already, that will be a key enabler to further promote investments in both the countries. India and UAE also formed up a very important document on intergovernmental framework agreement concerning cooperation for the empowerment and operation of the India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. This is significant because a lot of experts we have seen in the last few weeks have expressed apprehensions about implementation of the IMEC project in view of the current situation in the Middle East. So in that background, this agreement assumes greater significance. This pact would also build on previous understandings and cooperation on this matter and foster India and UAE cooperation, furthering regional connectivity. So how do you see these agreements which are going to actually transform the relationship in a big way? That is the expectation.
These 8 agreements which have been signed, these 8 MOUs which have been done yesterday, they are actually reinforcing understandings in these vital areas: energy, transition, and green hydrogen. Then there is this agreement and then investment. Then there is this corridor. Now, about this corridor, yes, there has been a dark shadow due to the events since 7th October last year. And everyone is really very worried about what will happen the coming months in the West Asian region. Is it again recrudescence of conflict? But signing of this intergovernmental agreement actually again reflects the faith of both these countries in working towards mutual benefit, towards peaceful construction of whole framework of bilateral relationship, which brings benefit and progress and prosperity to the peoples of both countries. So it is to steer clear of conflict and to steer clear of that language of conflict. The whole statement of PM yesterday and today, it is constructive in the sense that they talk of assimilation, cooperation, working together, and reinforcing of mutual understanding, mutual respect. So this is the way forward. And another point of Indian diplomacy has been that wherever there is a conflict, India has pitched for humanitarian dimension, for support, and to avoid bloodshed, to avoid violence, and to use diplomacy for peaceful solution of the differences and disputes and conflict. So UAE also has been in the same track. They have been in the Middle East. They have risen in the last 3 decades or 4 in a very major way. They are a big power. The port facilities being offered by UAE are second to none in the world. And the trade, international trade that passes through and facilitated by UAE is very, very significant. India joins with them, with the UAE in this process. And the whole attempt is to spur this trade and not to let it be hindered by tensions and conflict. Now, in this context, the India-Europe corridor and the agreement towards that corridor assumes importance. It assumes importance because it is visualizing a land connection. The connection through sea has been there. It has been very traditional and hundreds of years. We've traded through the Gulf and the Red Sea with Europe. But now there is an avenue being opened for land route. It will go through Saudi Arabia and reach Haifa and then from there to Europe. And Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE and EU are partners in this process. So if it comes through and when it comes through, it will actually be safe from attacks on the sea lanes, for instance, because there has been increasing cases of sea piracy and attacks on shipping in recent months. Now, to steer clear of this kind of these uncertainties, a land route is also a very good option.
Prime Minister Modi also addressed the World Government Summit in Dubai today, where he spoke of the need for the world to just focus more on clean and transparent technology, clean energy for a sustainable future. So how do you see Prime Minister Modi's emphasis on clean and transparent governance as well as to just use of new technologies and clean energy in the context of greater focus on the climate change?
A greater focus on climate change certainly means working on energy transition, working away from hydrocarbons and fossil fuels. And it is most significant that UAE, which has huge hydrocarbon reserves and whose progress has been through harnessing of the hydrocarbons, is now ready to move to a future where we move away from fossil fuel. And it is looking for renewable energy and solar energy. And it has also got a nuclear power plant. This is what comprises the energy mix of the future. So PM has emphasized this. And transparency is necessary in these matters because we are not hiding anything. We are not doing anything on the sly, which might be of a zero-sum game type. It is not at somebody else's loss. It is for common good. And the emphasis in the global summit on AI, for instance, is also very significant because artificial intelligence is now poised to move in a very major way. And there are both sides of it, dark and bright. And it is necessary for governments to get together, understand, and regulate this whole process of evolution of the AI so that it strengthens peaceful development of industry. The new industrial revolution will very soon be with us, and this time the pace is much faster. It will not take many years. It might, as someone has said, that might be there with us in matters of months or maybe a year or two. So there is need for rapid action to ensure that this is not damaging or it's not detrimental to human civilization. So how does the human control ensure AI's good uses, virtuous uses? These are the questions before us. And India's competence in this area was underlined by none other than the head of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, about 10 days back in India. He said that in the coming years, coming time, Indians constitute something like 25% of the global workforce on AI. Now, this is the kind of strength that India brings to bear at these meetings. And the Prime Minister speaks with strength and humility to cooperate in this whole venture.
Ambassador Sharma, after concluding his visit to UAE, Prime Minister Modi will travel to Qatari capital Doha this evening. In his departure statement ahead of the two-nation visit, Modi said India and Qatar enjoy historically close and friendly relations, and the multifaceted ties between the two countries have continued to deepen in recent years. The visit comes days after Qatar released 8 jailed former Indian Navy personnel, and 7 of them, all we know, have already returned home. So what is the significance of Prime Minister Modi's visit to Qatar, and what can we expect out of it?
The release of the naval personnel signifies the close rapport between PM and the Emir of Qatar. And because it was his intervention which resolved this problem, and thanks to his efforts, that these Navy veterans were moved from the death sentence to prison and then released altogether, and they are back home. So this given a very huge signal of the understanding and cooperation and friendship between the two countries, which is forged by the PM at the highest level. And this surely is also, at the top of the kind of close bilateral economic cooperation, trade, investment, which has been underway with Qatar. And it's an important partner of India in development and development cooperation. So we are importers of Qatar's hydrocarbons reserves. We import, I think, gas from them. And we are working for more constructive relationship. So this visit of PM to Qatar, I think, in a way, is to thank the Emir personally for the gesture that he has made, and to forge links now for the cooperation and development of economic relationship.
Ambassador Sharma, thank you so very much for a detailed perspective on India-UAE relationship and Prime Minister's 7th visit to the Gulf nation, as well as Prime Minister's upcoming visit to Qatar. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on bilateral relationship between India and United Arab Emirates. The participants were Sheel Sharma, former diplomat, and Pratim Bhuiyan, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsttalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 928 909 4044.